So what we will do is I will request each of you to give a 2-minute intro about you and your university, your organization, each of you. And after that round is over, we go to each of you and talk about the what are the challenges which you are seeing, each of you. Each of you are like representing different states, different geographies, and maybe different types of audience, the students, different background of audience and stuff like that. And after that, we go for what are the opportunities you are looking at, how do you convert challenges into opportunities. Right. And the third round we will go is to what are the regulatory and the government support you think is needed. And fourth and the last round is that what any other inputs which is not covered. So and there we end. So is that okay? The format looks okay to you?
That's okay.
Huh?
Sure.
Is it okay? Right. So we will. So we still have 5 minutes. So if you have any suggestions, Dr. Sharma, you want to suggest like on the format or topics?
I think you have covered very well. Our effort in this webinar should be to remove that fear as well as really the concern people have for the quality of online education, and also to understand that we are in a new age now where advantage technology has to be utilized in the education sector to the fullest. So I think we would go in a very forceful manner in this discussion to overscore this point, as well as to respond to what kind of future that lies ahead tomorrow. Even if the lockdown is taken away, but you may have to be prepared for similar such occasions maybe in future, and with a much better preparation than what we perhaps had this time, because this time it came almost as a shock. But next time we would have to be seen as fully prepared to handle not only the emergency, but also to greet the new dawn of new educational systems. So these are some of the things which we need to really now understand, as well as make it clear to our stakeholders, including the regulators, so that they also think in terms of preparing India for a better tomorrow in respect of higher education.
Thanks, sir. Kumarji, any suggestions on the questions?
It looks fine to me, and I believe that all the panelists, they will be able to cover up and bring something new in that. So that will be very helpful, and you have formatted it well, and some bullet points I received earlier also from your office. And they are covering everything, I believe.
Ashok, any suggestions, any pointers?
I think you have covered it well, but for me, as being a non-academic participant in this discussion, what I see India as a whole, as this is a blessing in disguise, otherwise the dark side which we are seeing at present. So as correctly said, we have to reboot our education system. And as per the vision mission of our Ministry of HRD and all our educational stakeholders, we have to increase our reach, accessibility, equity, quality, and take this opportunity. And we should all come together as an educational technology companies, as a government, as a university, to bring something, I will not say innovative. Already the hybrid education system is being followed in US, in many countries. So just we have to customize and make it deliverable, accessible, and in quality manner.
We have one question.
Sir.
Who are the audience here?
So audience, okay. So audience are a lot of higher education institutions, the people who are either professors or teachers or administrators. There are a lot of schools, lot of even students, and a lot of edtech companies. So it's a mixed crowd, and we are going live on FB. So on Facebook, we have more than 10,000 subscribers in each of our education and world education summit handles. On Twitter also, FB, LinkedIn. So everywhere, audience is like able to see us and react to us.
I'm sure we have shared this message to our own people, and a lot of them might have registered for this,
Yes.
webinar.
So some are registered and like some are like watching on FB and commenting there and asking the question. So my team is like you can see the questions on your chat box, and you can pick it up like after this round is over. And the questions on FB, which people are asking on the Facebook, and on my team is like sending it to me on my WhatsApp. So I will be like checking it and also like mentioning if like something is getting left out in the discussions. So that's the format.
You will send it on the chat bot, is it?
So audience who are registering on Zoom can straight away ask on the chat here itself. You can see all the questions. It will be visible to you. Okay. And the Facebook questions you might not be able to see it right now. So my team like will be sending it me.
Sir, can I start it?
Yes, please start.
Just 1-2 minutes, sir.
Okay. Yep.
Then I will tell you.
Sure. So we are starting our panel on higher education, the Elets panel on higher education. I am Ravi Gupta. I am CEO of Elets Technomedia Private Limited. I started this organization in 2005, around 17 years back. And the idea was to create a platform for spreading innovations in the education, governance, and health and related sectors. And we started with a magazine called Digital Learning, that was in 2005. And at the same time, we started a magazine called eGov, which was around e-governance, and a magazine on health called eHealth, all around innovations in the health, education, and governance sectors. So over the past 17 years, Elets as an organization has looked at documenting innovations in its magazine, in its online portals, and also doing face-to-face conferences across India. We have covered around more than 50 cities inside India and around 10 cities outside India. And we have organized around 250 or 275 around conferences, workshops, seminars on innovations in the various sectors. And the context of this webinar is that in the times of Corona, we are all looking at how we can look at rebooting the education system, because it is affecting each of us as the people who are running institutions, people who are teaching there, the students there, and of course the parents, and the employment the scenario also is changing rapidly. So in this context, we have an eminent panel here. I welcome you all here. Thanks for being here, and I will request to start with Dr. Anand and each of the panelists to give a brief intro about you and your organization, and then we will proceed with the panel. So Dr. Anand, you can start, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Good evening to one and all present there, and welcome all the candidates, participants who are witnessing it from various places. I am Anand Samuel. I'm the Vice Chancellor of VIT University. And the VIT group of institutions, we have 4, and headquartered in Vellore, and we have another campus in Chennai. So Vellore and Chennai campus constitute VIT University. And we have 2 other universities, one in Amravati in Andhra Pradesh, it's a state private university, and the 4th one is in Bhopal, again it's a state private university. And on the whole, we have about 40,000 students, and in VIT University, we have 33,000 students. And we have students from all the states of India, that's the uniqueness of VIT, and 53 other countries. And recently, Indian government of India has given us the status of institution of eminence. So with that, I conclude. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Anand. May I request Shri Kuvar Shekhar to please speak about?
Yeah, thank you, Gupta ji, for this opportunity. I'm Kumar Shekhar Vijayendra. I am co-founder and Chancellor of Shobit University. And we have two universities. One is a deemed university, which is in Meerut, Uttar Pradesh. And second one is a state university, which is in district Saharanpur, a small town in district Saharanpur in Uttar Pradesh again. And our focus is more towards certain niche areas. The main area where we are working is agricultural informatics, where we are working apart from other areas.
Excellent. Welcome, Kuvarji. Abhishek, if you can introduce yourself, please.
Right. Thank you, Ravi. Esteemed panelists and everyone on the webinar, thank you so much for this opportunity. I represent ISEC group of universities. We have 5 universities, one in Madhya Pradesh, Dr. Rabindranath Tagore University, one in Hazaribagh, ISEC University, and one in Chhattisgarh, Bilaspur, one in Vaishali, and one in Khandwa, called as Dr. C.V. Raman University. And as a group of universities, we cater to both urban and rural segment of students, and I look forward to a meaningful discussion today.
Thank you, Abhishek. May I invite Dr. Sharma from Amity University to speak, please?
Thank you, Dr. Ravi. It's such a great privilege and honor to be part of this great panel. Being the Vice Chancellor of Amity University, Gurugram, I am Professor P.V. Sharma, part of the great Amity group, which now has 11 universities within the country and 13 of its global campuses abroad. I am former Vice Chancellor of Delhi Technological University and also the founder of Rajiv Gandhi Technological University in Madhya Pradesh. And therefore, in this panel, I am so privileged to be a part of this great panel. And I want to thank all the participants who are connected online through the webinar as well as through the Facebook. It's a great pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Dr. Sharma. Now I request Shri Ashok ji from Sharda University to please speak.
Thank you, Dr. Gupta. I'm really honored to be here with the respected panelists. I come from Sharda University. I'm heading their International Relations Department. Sharda Group of Institutions comprises of 5 campuses. 3 campuses are in Agra. The university campus is in Greater Noida, and the 5th campus we recently opened in Uzbekistan. In total, we have around 17,000 students. In Sharda University, which is Greater Noida campus, we have around 11,000 plus students. And out of that, 2,000 students are international students from more than 55 countries. And we also have a 1,000-bedded super specialty teaching medical hospital in Sharda University Greater Noida campus. And we have a multidisciplinary, we have around more than 200 plus courses coming from each and every state of India. Thank you.
Excellent, excellent. I think we have a excellent panel where we have a different variety of universities from different states and different regions, and both they are operating in India, and some of you are also operating outside India, and some of you are operating in one state, and some of you are operating at multiple states. So you have like different range of experiences and ideas. So we will start with the situation. The current situation we are all facing is the Corona situation. We have a lockdown right now, and we have no idea till when it is going on. We are seeing what has happened in China. We have seen what has happened in Italy, Spain, and right now what is happening in USA. And we are seeing that the numbers in India are also increasing every day. So there is a lot of uncertainty all around. but the education has to go on. Education is a very important need of the society, and you all are like serving that need. So I will start with Dr. Anand, and the format of the panelists, that we will request each of the panelists to talk about the challenges which the current situation is posing to us. And in the next round, we will talk about the how are we going to deal with it, and what are the opportunities it is producing in terms of dealing with challenges and creating innovation opportunities. So in terms of challenges, if you like, we talked about Dr. Anand, we can start with you.
Yes, sir. Actually, you know, all of us know there's our state of affairs in which we are in. All of us are confined to our homes, fear-stricken, and we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So that's the situation. And at VIT, I like to say that we always be proactive and prepare for the worst. Recently, the Boston Consulting Group has predicted that in Indian context, the peak will be happening only in the mid-June. So that's really, yeah, unique. So that means I don't know what the government is going to do, whether wait or reopen now and then again close down and so on. But we know that the situation is not very conducive, and so we are preparing for the worst. So in that context, what we did is that we have preponed, as I told you earlier, we have preponed our vacation. So students are at rest, and so they are taking rest. At the same time, the challenge is that at this point in time, the biggest one, more than the education, when they are sitting at home, not sure about the future, we have already started getting complaints from the students, from the parents and all that. It's a social issue. The uncertainty is there, and so they don't know what to do. So we are now gearing up to face their challenges using our counselors, our teachers, and so on and so forth. That is one challenge now. Keeping the students who are at home now cool and calm, give them the confidence. That's the first challenge. Second challenge is about educating them. Anyway, we have our plans that when they come back in June, we will have our regular sessions and then carry on. Even if it is not going to happen, as per Boston Consulting Group, it may not happen at all, because that will be the peak time, they say. And we are now ready with our own online systems. So of course, in the last 10 years, I would say that we have been preparing for being 100% digital mode, meaning that we wanted to be online all through. And so luckily, it helps us at this point in time. And we are ready. We have our studio. We have already trained about 60 faculty members on preparing the course material for online courses and how to deliver and so on and so forth. And the studio is available, and we're ready with many courses. So we will definitely go online. That's not an issue at all. But the challenge is that even when we release it online, the students who are in remote places, they may not have the access, and the connectivity is not that good in like in other countries. So there's a challenge there. So how do we reach the 100% of the students? And even though we want to try it out now, when we experimented, we found out that about 10 to 15% of the students, they will not get that access. And so our management has decided that we will not go ahead with offering online now. What's the point in giving the input only to the 85% and depriving the 15%? And most probably they're all marginalized people. And so we stopped with that. But we have asked them to engage themselves, gave them hundreds of URLs, which offers free online programs. And we wanted them to do it online and educate themselves and add value. It's extra over and above the curriculum. And with regard to the curriculum, what we are going to do is that in the summer, starting from April 15th onwards, we're going to use our own platform, our own courses taught by our own teachers in asynchronous mode. So students need not come to the platform at the same time when the teacher is talking. So it's all available in video form. So they can view it at their own leisure. And we have our own examination system, mostly MCQs and some short questions and so on. It's all higher order thinking questions. So the time will be limited. They cannot copy. And that way we are trying to, make use of the online mode combating all the issues that might happen. And so that's the challenge. And now the third challenge, the last one, what we fear is that even though we have trained about 60 faculty members to be ready for online and get trained and so on, we have 2,000 on rolls in 2 campuses alone. And now how these 60 people who are trained, who are motivated to give online lectures, will be able to train the remaining 1,940 is a big challenge. And we don't know about the mindset of the teachers, how many will come forward and all that. That's a big challenge. Hopefully we will tackle all that, because right now it's not the question of luxury, it's a question of survival. So unless otherwise we change our mindset and prepare to spend money on digital mode and prepare to change ourselves to digital mode, we're not going to survive. And so since it's a question of survival, we'll be able to face the challenges. That's our gut feeling.
Excellent inputs, Dr. Anand. Very interesting perspective, and how are you like dealing with the situation? May I request Shri Kuvar Vijendra to talk about his perspective? Please, Kuvarji.
Yeah, if I look at the challenge, like we decided on 16th of March itself that we will go off campus. And after that, what we decided that every teacher will go with the same timetable, what they have, and they will use online mode, ERP available to the university, Zoom, and whatever modes are available. Dr. Anand mentioned some very valid points, like as one of our universities in rural India. So connectivity and availability of the proper device with the students. These are 2 challenges. So there we are trying to connect with the students, like last 20 days, if I look at the experience of the teachers and the challenges what they have. So we are trying to connect with them, even we are using WhatsApp, and whatever is possible, we are using those devices. But the challenge, what challenge is coming, like when I talk about technology, so virtual labs are not available practically in India. Very few universities may be having, but it is not that efficient as it should have been. Secondly, when we talk about programs like we have one Ayurvedic medical college. So you cannot teach online Ayurveda. Then again, if I come to subjects like agriculture, okay, theory can be there, but practical part is missing. So these challenges are there, but one thing which was the biggest challenge, that was of the mindset. Because suddenly when it happened that teachers, maximum of the teachers, they were not confident that they can do it. And neither the students were confident that yes, it is possible. Because generally you will see and you will appreciate that young teachers, they are keen to learn, and the professors and above, I'm sorry, professors are sitting with us here also, but generally very few of them are willing to bring that change, to do that thing, and they have to lead. So we decided that our vice chancellors, our professors, they should lead. So we started training them side by side, and the training part is happening, and I'm really happy to see that maximum of them, now they are in position to deliver through Zoom, through all other platforms. Challenge still remains of connectivity, but the positive thing what I found here, I know we are talking only challenges now, but still I would like to say that more queries are there, more enthusiasm is there, and the students are more open online than they were in the classrooms. They are feeling more free to ask more questions, and that interaction with the students is happening more and more. Maybe the reason is that we do not have 17,000 or 40,000 students. We have around 6,000 students. So our teachers are in position to connect with every student, even personally. Like we have asked them, because the students have to remain motivated, that depression should not come there. Their parents should know that they are sitting home, but something positive is happening with them. That fear of unknown, what we all have, That should not be there. So in the university, we have developed a psychology counseling cell. Also, we have a Center for Psychology and Human Behavior. So that is helping them in their psychological issues. The same way, like in both the universities, we developed 100-bed isolation facility, and we handed over it to the district administration. Why we did it? Because we wanted our team to experience that also. That it is not something that I should remain in isolation, I should not be a part of that. Because I always believe wherever there is a disruption, there is an opportunity. Challenges are there, and that opportunity we are trying to grab. Some of our students, those who are international students with us, they were not able to fly back, and we never encouraged them. So what we are doing with them, like we are connected with the embassies, we are connected with their families, parents, and we are ensuring that they remain engaged, not only academically, otherwise also, like we are sending them a lot of material to study about Indian culture, about literature, whatever their hobbies are, we are trying to do that. But yes, this is a challenge, and the biggest challenge is to remain motivated. Thank you.
Very important quotes. Thanks, Kumarji. I think the most important challenge is to remain motivated. Actually, that is the major challenge, not only as a university, but overall as a country, I suppose, and overall as a globe.
We all have to remain motivated, and we have to motivate others also.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I think that's the whole agenda of this panel itself, I suppose.
So, yeah, this is wonderful opportunity.
Yeah. Abhishek ji, if like you can speak about your university.
Yeah, so if you're talking about challenges, I'll keep the challenges as two parts. One is short term and the other one is long term. Now, as far as short term challenges are concerned, of course, this came all of a sudden. We were caught unaware. So, a lot of operational issues are there. Most of the professors and teachers who are there at home don't have access. Some of them don't have access to their laptop, which is there in the office. So those are operational challenges. Some today or tomorrow that will be set right. Apart from the other challenges that the other esteemed panel members have already spoken about, we've also started online learning. Surprisingly, we did not expect the level of adoption that the students have taken. And you would be surprised that the attendance in the online system is actually more than the classroom attendance. So that came as a big surprise for us. And most students were very happy to come online. This could be an initial euphoria as well. It might die out in the near future. So that brings us a challenge of how do we continue to keep them engaged in the online format if this continues for a long term. And students have already started complaining, saying, "Sir, mera data khatam ho raha hai. Ab main kya karu?" Right? So who will pay for their data? All of that are niggling problems that are coming up. Unfortunately, this is always going to happen. There are some students who don't have access to a device. Those are the students who are going to be left out, who don't have an access to a smartphone or a laptop at home. Or some students have complained saying that they don't have good enough network to come online. So a marginal set of students, but they are there. So our idea is to see how we can cater to 100%, but unfortunately there's that set of students as well. So these are operational short-term challenges, which is going to be there till the near term. LMS is there. Surprisingly, the students are more on LMS now than before. I mean, actually not surprising, but that's there. But there's another issue in the long term, right? Now, if you're talking about long-term issues and question marks, we need to see how will the regulator adapt to the current changes. Very important, because education is highly regulated. If the regulator doesn't change, then whatever innovations we do, it's going to be difficult, because can we do exams online? Can there be Viva online? All of that is a question. Of course, like the previous speaker mentioned, practicals, how do we do those? All of that will come up in the short term, in the mid-term to long term as questions. And as far as the institution is concerned, I look at demonetization. When demonetization happened, there were a lot of companies that came in with fintech products. So similarly, as we speak, I get hordes of emails every day saying this solution, that solution. So either there were solutions which were dormant, have now come up, or not, a lot of companies have come up with solutions. So there will be a lot of solutions that will come up. There'll be one Paytm. Similarly, there'll be one something here, one or two big players who will stay on. But the bigger question is also for brick and mortar institutions like us. How do we adopt? Airtel during demonetization became a bank. So we should be ready for some of these technology players who would come up and knock on the regulators saying that, hey, you know what, we can be a university which is a pure online university. So all of these challenges are going to be there in the long term. And it is time for institutions like us to quickly change, remodel ourselves to ensure that we give the best solution to the students. And if we keep doing that, I think we'll be right on top.
Excellent inputs, Abhishek. Very different angle you put it regarding the comparison with the demonetization situation and the same situation emerging now, and a whole new challenge and opportunity being created for the education sector. So, Dr. B.B. Sharma from Amity University, sir, your perspective.
First of all, let me thank God Almighty for saving India from the bigger disaster that could have happened. But we are really grateful to the divine powers who are keeping our country at a much lower rate as far as the coronavirus is concerned. Having said this, let me say that one of our biggest challenge in education sector is also to see that our students as well as faculty do not fall prey to such like troubles which come through pandemic diseases. And I'm very happy that the education sector as a whole, especially Amity University group, we have not heard a single case of a student or professor falling prey to this. So having said this, let me say that in Amity University, we are a little more fortunate because online education has been a part and parcel of Amity University group for quite some time. We were beaming live lectures to African nations and also have recently set up Amity Future Academy, which started training all the teachers for the online classes as well as online deliveries. And this opportunity came as a pleasant surprise, and therefore we had no trouble in switching over to online system after the lockdown was declared. In fact, we started beaming our classes from March 14 onward. And as has been said by my fellow panelist, Kumar Sahab as well as Dr. Anand, this experience has been really a pleasant surprise. The students have taken up the challenge of online classes head on, and none of them have expressed any displeasure whatsoever. And so has been the case with the teachers of Amity University who have conducted the classes as per the schedule. But having said this, the challenge which I see now for the future is twofold. Number one, to improve the quality of online deliveries in terms of the preparedness which the teachers have to have, not only to deliver just the PowerPoint presentations or the delivery system of a dialogue in a classroom, but they must now bring in the simulation as well as modeling and analysis, and also small video clips to keep the whole class cheerful and engaged during the class hours. I think we need to now in every university set up systems by which we are in a position to help support our teachers to significantly improve the quality of online education. The second part, of course, is that concern has been raised by Dr. Anand as well as my fellow panelists about the rural area students. Really speaking, this is not something to worry too much, because my own experience is that India is in a position to take the challenges head on. The connectivity is much better today than ever before. Even the rural area students are able to receive the video lectures as well as video program and online classes. But for the planners and policymakers, the challenge is now to facilitate the penetration of internet into rural areas much more than ever before. We already have about 20% penetration in rural areas of internet connectivity, and this can significantly be enhanced in the years to come. Likewise, the plans for data management and data utilization have to be much more affordable than perhaps they are today. In Amity University, in fact, in all our 11 universities, we have had a great experience of running the classes during this period, and we are also conducting Zoom meetings with our HOIs. Our top management is conducting meetings with the vice chancellors of the university, and looking ahead, how do we go from here with this experience to mounting a much bigger agenda for a proper mix of online as well as the classroom teaching in future. And this preparation is really being steered from the vision of our founder, President Dr. Ashok Chauhan, and also my innovative Chancellor Dr. Sim Chauhanji. My students, of course, are very well connected. We are also looking at how to conduct the internship in the summer using virtual internship arrangements, and very many industries have been roped in, and we would be able to place our students in internship partly sitting at home. They would be able to utilize this opportunity if at all the lockdown continued that far. But my judgment is that we would not be having the lockdown beyond what has been declared so far. But nevertheless, the opportunities for future for higher education is that they must greet this disruption which has been suddenly caused by coronavirus, and prepare India's universities to face the new dawn of a proper utilization of the advantage technology into higher education. And I'm sure that my fellow vice chancellors of the country are fully abreast of this challenge. As far as the young and old groups are concerned, let me say this: the younger ones, of course, are far more akin to adaptation of the new technologies, but people like me also have been putting a brave face in connecting with our students and faculty and driving the agenda, because really speaking, the advantage which IT has, that it promotes self-learning. Much of what we learn can be learned without anybody mentoring it. Nevertheless, as a university, we are now planning the webinar training programs for our faculty members, and also taking on board very many experts from the industry in our Amity University to connect to our student community, so that it should not remain just merely the contact between teacher and student. Let there be the whole body of the university and its activities come live. We are also pushing the agenda of research and development and innovations during this period, because you have more time to think. And I'm really very happy to say that even in Amity University, Gurugram, from here, I've been able to get a good number of patents filed during this period, and also a good number of research proposals which have been submitted for funding. And my teachers are actively engaged in research, innovation, as well as online system. So I think the future is very bright for India's higher education, only if our universities take this challenge in the right earnest and transform the challenge into great opportunity. In fact, we were waiting for disruption of higher education for a long time. Manufacturing had taken a beating already, and we were sitting in our comfortable compartment. But this coronavirus lockdown has come as a blessing in disguise for all our Amity universities. I'm pretty sure we would be rising to this challenge much bigger. Thank you.
Excellent, Dr. Sharma. I think you have covered a lot of very interesting points, and you are terming it as a blessing in disguise, since we were already prepared with the digital ecosystem. So thanks for the input. I move to Ashok Daryani ji from Sharda University. Please give your perspective on this whole situation.
Actually, all the university panelists sitting here are fortunate enough to be one of the premium universities, and they have all the sources and resources available with them to counter this all of a sudden kind of a situation. But if you see, like India has around 900 or plus around 1,000 universities, 40,000 institutes, and 10,000 standalone institutes. So 60,000 institutes, all are not prepared, all were not aware, all do not have these kind of sources, resources available. So this COVID-19 has given sleepless nights to students, institutes, parents, all stakeholders, including government. and higher education cycle is disrupted. And this was the most crucial time for universities like us or for any university in terms of teaching classes, examinations, evaluations, and importantly, admissions. But I think necessity is the mother of invention. Nobody had no other option but to start adapt to this online mode. In our university, we have been telling for years, to our professors, to our technical team, to do online, and they have done a very good job. But I would say thank to the generosity of edtech companies, LMS providers for providing free access to their service at this moment of time. And to tell you, in fact, many higher education institutes in India are not ready for digital transformation immediately. Online modes needs a lot of good infrastructure, both at institute and as well as students, and in terms of hardware and bandwidth. And of course, now we are discussing challenges. Of course, we have outcome, we have overcome the present situation. Our attendance is at Sharda University is 80% online. But still, if I see some challenges as we are discussing, from the students' angle, the students are not able to understand many, lectures due to technical glitches, maybe clarity of communication by professors. It's in an infant stage of development, if I can use this word, as to the larger extent. Demonstration is poor due to lack of maybe preparedness, because we have to do all by night kind of preparations. The social contact, of course, it's missing. You can't interact with the fellow students. The students' feedback sometimes is that class is boring. Of course, internet data challenge, which has been mentioned in rural or maybe in urban areas, and now because everybody is on the internet, everybody is using data. As far as from the faculty angle is concerned, when we see, as also it was mentioned, like there are some faculties who are not tech savvy, especially senior ones. Sorry, and exceptions are there. And unfamiliarity with the uses of tools properly. The students' monitoring system is also as a challenge, though we say, but we really do not know how much it is being accepted and how much it is being, understood. Laptop, mobile, yeah, of course, 80-90% of the students in our kind of universities have them, and from management angle, it's of course a challenging moment, seeing the future and seeing the, infrastructure cost, hardware and other ICT tools, and understanding the technology is, in the progressive stage. But yes, we at the Sharda University as a whole, we have nearly overcome this situation, and we are on an online mode. But still many things to improve, to happen.
Great points. I think Ashokji, you have described the challenges very well. The challenge of students actually absorbing things online or not, students actually having attendance well or not, and the whole Corona stuff taking everyone by surprise, and especially the smaller institutions are going to face real big challenges. I think those points have been very well highlighted. So in the next round of discussion, I am what I'm going to first about ask. I think Abhishek mentioned about the regulatory ecosystem adopting to the new situation. So each of you, can you point what are the regulation changes from MHRD or AICTE, from UGC or NAC or several other organizations, NIRF, what you are seeing that what they should do to adopt to this situation and to help the higher education institutions in this scenario. Dr. Anand, if we may start with you.
Yes, sir. To my mind, it appears that at this point in time, what is required and what the regulations should allow us is autonomy. We know that in our country, all the IITs, IIT professors have the autonomy to decide the way they carry on with their coursework, the kind of mark distribution they have and examination pattern they have and so on. So that is one main thing which comes to my mind at this point in time. The second point is again, see, the present day students are called as Generation Z students. Even the millennials have gone. So next generation students have come and they are in the first year sitting in us now. And the way they think, the expectations and their learning styles, everything is different. Now all the regulations are based on our old pattern, and we don't see that it is applicable to the modern generation. The students at this point in time, they're not interested in learning by listening to lectures. They're not interested in learning by reading books. So essentially, if you see, all our regulatory norms as far as academics is concerned, it's based on these two things. Okay, they should come to the classrooms, down there for 45 minutes, have 70% attendance and take the 3 hours examination and so on. So these are all, in my opinion, not suitable for the Generation Z kids. If you're really interested in testing their capability and then molding them for tomorrow's challenges of the world. And so autonomy, if it is given on these things also, in terms of, depending upon the learning style of the students, I will have my own way of, teaching and assessing and so on and so forth. That will be good. So that's the major point that comes to my mind now. And the other things, maybe I'm not able to think about anything more than this at this point in time. Later on, if there's a chance, I'll come back again.
Sure. Kumarji, your suggestions about the regulatory challenges?
As Dr. Anand mentioned, like autonomy is required. And actually autonomy is required, that from teaching a learning system has to be developed. Because when we say that in university system, what has to be there? So there are certain parameters, boxes are there, and this situation has brought us to think out of the box. Blended learning has to happen. Many times, as I mentioned earlier, also many of our teachers are not much familiar with online teaching, but there are trainers available. There are co-learners available, those who can train our students in a better way. So one thing that has to happen. Secondly, this blended education system has to be adopted in totality, not only in crisis. Like online education, as AICT said, 20%, you can go with MOOCs and all other things, but this 20% parameter has to be removed. Let the university decide what is the best way to impart knowledge with the students. And that is a complete change. Out of the box, we have to think. Generally, what happens when we are in crisis, we all are thinking, we all are discussing this should happen, and even the government is very flexible on that. But the moment we are in comfort zone again, we forget that what we were talking and what these crises were there. EduTech had been there always. But when universities were not allowed to go online, so that's why our teachers, our ecosystem is not trained for that. So suddenly it came there, and this disruption, again I am telling, a new creation has to be there, and that creation should not happen only in the teaching modes. It should happen in our complete mindset, the thinking mode, which is very important. I am sure that our regulators are also thinking, and from regulator, they will become facilitators after this crisis. Thank you.
Good point, Kumarji. Abhishek, your suggestions on the regulators and regulations?
Yeah, so it's actually a complex topic and quite a vast one per se. But I'll start off by saying that our regulation today is quite complex, quite rigid. There is absolutely no doubt there. It's got its own reason for it to become rigid and complex. The very fact that we have so many regulators, right? UGC, AICT, NCT, so and many more. and to get all of them to work together to change quickly is a challenge. So that's where MHRD will have to kind of step in and see how can we change quickly, considering the changes, assuming that if this is the norm moving forward, then we definitely need a lot of changes. I don't want to get into specific regulations. I mean, for example, there is no doubt that distance education is going to be the way forward for most of the programs. There are going to be a lot of students who would prefer to get registered in the distance education program. And distance education today is very highly regulated, to the extent that there is a separate online distance regulation, and there is regulations which are not for online, and only few are allowed to do online, etc., etc. Right? So that maybe the regulator needs to see how we can, for the next 1 year, loosen it a little bit to make sure that we get most of the students in. What is going to happen in the next few months is that if this continues, there are going to be a lot of students who are going to fall out of the education system. And we need to ensure that they don't, and we bring them back in. And also the fact that there is going to be a gap between demand from the industry vis-a-vis the students who are going to come out. And that is another thing that we need to keep in mind. And I mean, I'm thinking of courses like, apprenticeship, for example. Industries is not going to close. They're definitely going to open. And degree apprenticeship is one thing which I think is going to be the norm moving forward, where the students are going to work. And while they're working, they're able to get a degree as well. And I don't think that's something that's picked up in India. It's picked up worldwide. But these are the kind of out-of-the-box thinking that the regulator needs to do now to ensure that we cater to most, if not all, the students which are there in the country.
Excellent, Abhishek. Great inputs, great suggestions. Dr. Sharma, your inputs on the regulations.
I'm really sure that regulators of the country must be equally concerned now that the disruption has arrived much earlier than they expected. My own judgment is that our regulators require a rethinking, rather rebooting of their whole system by which they wish to control or regulate the higher education in our country. In fact, if I would have been the regulator, my concern would be only for quality, for relevance, for employability, and the outcome of the universities and institutions under my I would be least concerned with how many rooms you have, or how many inches of land you are short of, or how many numbers of faculty you have. Rather, I would be more concerned about how eminent is your faculty and what contribution they are making. And this change must come right now that we have tested the fruits of disruption. My point at the moment is that the universities and colleges are not just only for teaching. We do a whole lot of other services as well, including placing our students in job, looking after their internship, and also great training needs of the industry and corporates within our university system. All these need to be very well supported. And I think this experiment and experience of crisis has given us tremendous amount of learning experience that we can meet the challenges with tremendous amount of confidence. In our own Amity University, we are in dialogue with our employers of the students and also placing our students in internship, because industry has taken a bigger hit compared to the education sector. As far as I can see it, we have been able to run our show with online systems and classes, but industry has been very badly hit in terms of manufacturing and also their outcome, and therefore their fears are much bigger compared to ours. So at this moment, I think the government has to look into that aspect and see that we are able to bring back our manufacturing as well as the service sector back on its wheels. As far as my own submission here would be that in the years to come, online education and its integration in the formal education will become a way of life. And I really see the great future whereby my teachers, when they go to the class, would not only simply use chalk and board, but also would often replay some of the recorded lectures of their own and also run some of the online classes after the class hours and engage student community much bigger than what they would in a formal system. So that is of course the position as far as Amity is concerned. We are fully geared up for the meeting the challenge for the future. and we are drawing up the long-term action plan so that we are in a position to utilize this great opportunity of advantage technology, advantage connectivity for our students as well as faculty members. We are also conducting intensive training program for our faculty so that they are in a position to meet the challenges in a bigger way tomorrow when, if at all, it happens again. If not also, I think the mindset of the people must now be fully changed. Online education has been very well received by the students community as well as by teachers. I have not heard at least even a single teacher telling me that he is unable to use the connectivity or the online environment, because really speaking, this is something by which we are blessed by self-learning and the student community, including my grandchildren. They are receiving online classes from their schools and they are enjoying it. Only thing we need to really, I think, communicate and convince our faculty as well as students that when you attend to online classes, be as prepared as you were attending your formal classes. Don't just think that it's a casual affair. In fact, it's a very serious affair by which you are in a position to be in direct dialogue with your teachers, and you are able to build up your competencies and your caliber. And therefore, teachers also as well as students have to come fully prepared for these classes. And this is happening, in fact, right now, and I feel very happy about it. Last but not the least, let me say that we are sitting on a gold mine of opportunity. After all, for a long time, the concern for quality and employability has been voiced. So regulators can't say that the formal system had delivered better and online system would not. Maybe we have to now review our regulation in the right earnest. Our opportunity is to really look after 660 million youngsters who are below the age of 25, who will be going from school to college to university, and to offer them the world quality education and prepare them for the workforce of tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow the senior industry would also change, where they would ask part of their workforce to operate from home. Service sector can do it very well, software industry can do it very well, and bulk of the businesses can also operate with the mindset where part of the workforce is operating from home, and this will have great dividends for the nation as a whole. You will have less cars on the road and you will burn less fuel, and you would be able to really spend more time in a flexible manner to give the benefit of your competencies. So that kind of workforce of tomorrow is something which universities of today must be quite aware about, and our new ecosystem for higher education has to gear around meeting the challenges of the new workforce for the new.
Excellent, sir. Excellent. Yes.
Industry.
Thanks for, I think, great inputs. You have both talked about regulatory changes and also the opportunities, what we are bringing. I think I will move to Mr. Ashok Daryani from Sharda University. Sir, your perspectives on the regulatory issues.
Respected panelist and Ravi, there are two different things. One is, of course, a distance education, which is 100% by distant mode or whatever. Another is a hybrid system, which I think is what we are talking now, and what we are trying to achieve out of this crisis situation, which is going to evolve in a very much better manner. So if I call about hybrid system, and of course the regulatory body are also watching it carefully, and I'm sure they're wise enough. And one of the few things which is, of course, they will have to recognize the online exams, assessments to some extent, in some form or another. Credit should be given to the field work. We have to be more field work oriented or applications or some kind of project works in a more liberal manner. Of course, the credit should be given to research works. Student-teacher ratio, I'm not really sure if, what they will be liberal or not. And basically nowadays it is an outcome-based learning system. Whether you teach him or you do not teach him, what is the outcome? Sorry to use teaching and not teaching. Is basically what is the result of your teaching at the end of the day. What jobs you have been able to provide to your students, what kind of skills you have been able to provide in 4 years or 2 years, or in whatever period of course he has enrolled. With the permission of respected panelists, I'll give you a small example of Carnegie Mellon University, They have a Tepper School of Business, and they are doing an online hybrid MBA. There is no difference between online MBA and a regular MBA in that Tepper School of Business. Both are STEM designated, science, technology, engineering, maths. Like a full-time MBA, it is the same curriculum, same faculty, same Tepper MBA, same degree, no compromise. The difference is in the regular MBA, they have the regular classes, which we are used to. And but in this online MBA, they have a twice a week kind of classes, community connections, clubs, and also they have a 6 times a year access weekends network with the classmates, MBA students, alumni, building critical, meetings, professional connections, and the most important point is any moment of time, you can convert into a full-time MBA. So I think these kind of courses, this kind of courses will be developed and will be watched or taken care by the regulatory body, so as allow us, institute like us, to be a little more flexible.
Excellent. I think Ashokji, what you are talking about is flexibility, and you are talking about there is a right now clear distinction between distance education and the full-time education, and perhaps there is a now the time to think about a hybrid model of education where both the classroom education and the online education are given equal importance, or distance is also like given as much importance as the classroom education is. The next question which I am going to raise to the panelists is some of the people are asking on the Q&A and also in the web chat. I hope like you are saying lots of questions, but I'm like going to pick one of it. The financial angle of how this corona effect is going to impact the financials of both the students and the student and the parents, and also the higher education institutions itself. I think some of you have raised the issue that this is the admission time, you all get fees, you all would have vendors to pay, you all would have a lot of other expenses of running big universities, staff salaries and all that stuff. So how and you are important stakeholders in the education system, and how it is like going to affect these universities and colleges, private colleges and private universities, and how are you going to deal with this situation? Dr. Anand, I will start with you.
Yes, sir. Actually, if I analyze what's been happening at VIT, this is specific to VIT, in the last 20 days, of course, it's been a cakewalk for us, maybe because of the last 10 years focus on digitization. See, we've been having everything as usual. Whatever that has to be done, it has been done. Whether it is Dean's meeting or core group meeting or the Dean's meeting with the faculty members, even last week we conducted interview for selecting the MBA candidates through online. And yesterday we had full day. I was sitting with interviewing the candidates, teachers for our university. And one day, 2 days we interviewed about the 60, and we had 2 rounds of everything has been happening as usual. So it's not an issue at all. And when I start working out the cost involved, you'll be surprised to know that, taking the example of interview alone, when we conduct the interview, the number of man days spent, and we also provide TADA for all the candidates who was coming and all that, would have spent lakhs and lakhs of rupees to interview those 60 candidates, and ultimately we selected about 20-25. But day for yesterday's experience is that we did not spend even a single pie. It's through Zoom, it's zero cost. So that's one aspect. And I'm not saying that it is going to be zero cost all through. See, people will understand it. Now they are giving everything free now. It's fine. But maybe after a month or so, when everybody starts using, I know that all these vendors will start hiking the price. But we don't know what's going to happen. But at the same time, I have a feeling that economy of scale will come into picture. And we will not have any strain as far as finance is concerned on that angle. To give another example, we wanted to go for online mode of examination, writing using a digital pad. All the other online modes are MCQs or typing yes or no answers only. But at VIT, we got in touch with the one company providing us a digital pad. So the students write their examination using the digital pen as if they write in a sheet of paper on the digital pad. And it gets stored in the cloud, and teachers bring it back to the laptop and evaluate it and put it back into the cloud. This, we had it. And we had it for 3 years, and we want to expand it and go right through for online mode totally. But somehow, we had to put a stop there temporarily. The reason being, cost is a little high. We have 40,000 students. For every examination, we have to spend about 125 rupees for the digital pad. And it is slightly on the higher side. And but at the same time, if all the colleges, all the universities start using the digital pad, I'm sure that it will not be 125. It may even become 25 or 30 rupees. So I think that's where the issue is. If all the universities and the colleges in India decide to go online, take up all these online resources and utilize them, I'm sure that even though vendors try to hike it up, the economy of scale will come down. I will decide the price, and it will be affordable. That's on one side. Number two, with regard to the students coming and joining, there's a doubt raised in many forums and so on. But today's morning paper, there's an item which says, that came up in Tamil newspaper, that the dreams of Indian students going abroad is thrashed. Meaning that in future, at least the coming year, students from India, they will not like to go, first of all, or even if they want to go, the parents will not allow them to go. And whether the other countries will take them or also is an issue. So that means, so all the clientele, those who were going abroad, they're going to stay back and study in India. And so for all the quality institutions, maybe, we rate ourselves as a quality institution, we will not have any issue as far as students coming and joining us. And that way, the revenue is not going to be affected at all. So as all the other panelists are saying, it's a blessing in disguise that, yes, there will be issues, but if all of us follow that, cost will not be an issue, and students will coming in will not be an issue. So we'll be able to manage the show and get over it. So that's my gut feeling.
Excellent inputs, Anand. Good perspective you gave. May have a perspective from Kumarji.
If I look at the issues, financial issues, nobody knows what India will be in July 2020. Around 8 million students are stuck. Those who are supposed to take examinations, be it NEET, be it JEE, be it other examinations, a lot of anxiety is there. Confusions are there. And whenever there is anxiety and confusion, decision making is hampered. So this is one of the concerns which is supposed to happen. When we look at that, yes, using IT, using online modes, we can do a lot of things. But the students, those who are coming from the countries, not only from India, from other countries also, and pan-India will look at the total number of students. Many of them, they do not have this opportunity. I'm repeating this thing again, because I am seeing it very practically. Secondly, when we look at the impact, how the admissions will be, what will be the mode, like this challenge is coming. My son is studying in University of California. Even there, this challenge is there now. I was surprised. I was thinking that University of California or such universities, they are very well prepared, but they are not. Because what we are charging from our students, we are not charging only to teach them. We are charging for providing a lot of other facilities to them. And if we are online, even in hybrid mode, then definitely many of those facilities for which they come, because like education is not only giving them information or knowledge or a degree, it is a grooming and empowerment of a person in total. So that part, my concern is that it is missing. And this missing part will give an impact on the revenue model also. As the part of salary is concerned, definitely many of the faculty members, those who are not in position due to any limitation to adopt this thing, because this is an opportunity to unskill and reskill for the faculties also. And those who are not willing for that, naturally many of them has to go for administrative unpaid leaves also. And this matter is a concern which everybody has to understand. So revenue models will change, Definitely when one revenue source will not be there, we will think something innovative, something new will start coming up. Maybe more skill-based programs will be there, short-term programs will be there, more confidence will be there. But yes, these challenges are there, which need to be addressed, which need to be understood, and we need to think about that very seriously. Thank you.
Excellent inputs. Kuvaji, Abhishek, your perspective on this?
Yeah, I'll give a quick view. Now, in the recent past, it's not that education industry did not come in the duress. I mean, I'm talking about last 30, 40 years. And, or the economy per se. Most of the stress on the economy was because of financial reasons, right? There was a financial meltdown somewhere, or there was a famine somewhere. And if you look at the share of wallet of a particular family in India, education was always high. A parent would always pay for a student's fees, even if there's famine at home, right? So in that sense, the education industry was always guarded, because education in India was always regarded as the first thing that you need to look after for your kids. But somehow I have a feeling this time it's going to be different, because the way the education industry is going to change, lots of things are going to change. If this continues for a long time, I don't think education industry will find it as easy to survive as it did in the past 20, 30 years. It's going to be difficult, because the entire education industry is going to change if it continues like this, because the brick and mortar, the way of teaching, which was there earlier, will no longer be prevalent or as prevalent as it was earlier. We the members of the panel are already discussing about blended model, online learning, right? So the cost structures are going to change. The way of delivery of education is going to change. Like Dr. Kuwar mentioned, a lot of things of the financial model of the entire education industry is going to change. So I see a big change in the education industry, and a lot of stress financially for the educational institutes moving forward, if it continues the way it is happening today. But hopefully things change, and we get back to normal, and we learn from whatever we are learning now, especially the use of technology.
Thank you, Abhishek. Great inputs. May I request Dr. Ashok to speak, please?
Yeah, see, for a university like Sharda, and I see this as a whole as a correction, and in a short term maybe, but as Dr. Samuel said, that university like VIT, and to some extent university like Sharda as well, we might not have issues in terms of enrollments. The session will be late, but yes, there are many things like international students. Like we are perhaps one of the highest takers of international students in a year, but that international students, I am sure, will think twice to come to India, or to go to US, or to go to or to leave their host countries. So the students who want to leave India will not go outside India, and they will try to seek universities in India. So for me, I don't, yes, in a shorter run, there'll be an impact, maybe impact, but in the longer run, there will be no financial issues as far as university like us are concerned.
Yeah. Thank you, Ashok ji. Dr. Sharma from Amity, please.
As far as I'm concerned, I really do not see any trouble for the education sector as far as the financial angle is concerned. First of all, we have now automated all our admission processes, and surely the flow of forms and all that is happening in all our Amity universities more than what we really even expected. So from that point of view, of course, there would be more and more takers of higher education in India. But the point made by Dr. Samuel and also Abhishek is very important, that if we are able to significantly upgrade the quality of education in our universities, for which we are committed, then I'm pretty sure more and more students who were going abroad now would look towards India for admissions into universities where quality education is offered. I'm also of the opinion that we need to now also understand that students alone cannot bear the entire cost which the university want to recover. And therefore, a much greater mix of online and offline courses and online training program, online skill development programs by which we are able to do a lot of capacity building for the industry and for the corporate also must become the hallmark of the university life. And with this, I'm pretty sure the education would further be strengthened and we will have no trouble as far as the financial aspects are concerned. But nevertheless, the biggest challenge at the moment for us is to create that hope among our student community that the education provided by the university is going to make them the great leaders tomorrow, and they would be able to have the livelihood and their well-being is assured. That's where the challenge lies. And I'm pretty sure now that this experience of lockdown has given us reason to reboot higher education, we should be in a position to create this hope on the strength of creating an ecosystem which understand that education is for creating capabilities, but it is also for creating value, the mindset, the attitude, and in fact preparing our students for meeting the challenges of life. And it is in this respect the university education has to be now reconfigured and rebooted. And I'm sure that all our Amity University, we have foreseen this challenge and we are preparing to meet these challenges in the right earnest. So must be the case with my other universities. After all, I have been the president of AIU, and therefore my concern is not limited only to Amity education, but to all the universities in the country. All my fellow vice chancellors, I'm sure, are taking this challenge in the right earnest and preparing India's landscape of higher education to deliver much better quality, higher levels of employability, and certainly preparing our student community as highly responsible citizens of the global knowledge age, where they would have much greater compliance to the universal values of truthfulness, of transparency, of peace and harmony, which are vital for creating a better tomorrow. So all the challenges we foresee, education sector must only pray that the industries and corporates, they come back to life once again after the lockdown is removed and the fear of losing jobs in the corporate and in the industry are removed. If that is done, then I'm pretty sure much better times are ahead. On our part, in our all Amity University, we are in direct contact with our employers, those who have selected our students, and having a regular dialogue with them to understand their aspirations and convincing them that the manpower needs of tomorrow's industry would require highly capable people, and they should not think in terms of reducing the manpower per se merely to save a few pennies now, but rather they should prepare for a better tomorrow in their industry and corporate. And with this preparedness, the Amity University as a whole, all 11 universities in India are geared to face this challenge of higher education in the right earnest.
Excellent. I think great inputs that for education sector to thrive, we also should pray that our industries and corporates are also thriving. We are part of the bigger value chain, I suppose. So I think as most of we were seeing that there's a lot of questions here, and I'm not, and many of these questions have been touched by the panelists in various discussions we just had. So each there something we still have to add. I hope you are seeing the questions. Does any of you want to add something? Any pointers coming from the questions? Kumarji?
Yes,
please?
yes.
Yes.
What I see today, this crisis has shown a face to the universities also, our limitations. We all are after ranking, we all are after so many things, student enrollment, blah, 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 we all are talking about. But if we look last 20 days or 30 days globally, the best of the universities are not able to find even a solution for ventilators. We are talking about 3D printers, 4D printers, but a lot of things we are talking about. So what it speaks about to me, that many of the research what we are doing for the sake of research is not socially relevant today. And I take this opportunity, this crisis, this disruption, as a challenge that now innovation has to happen. And all the research, whatever the universities are doing globally, it has to be socially relevant and it has to be meaningful otherwise. It should not be just for the sake of having research. And for that purpose, Indian universities, institutions, we should come together, because we are talking about industry interface, placements, internships, what will be the challenge. But I believe that universities, those who are privileged, there are new universities also, there are degree colleges also, where problems are a lot. So now hand-holding has to happen. Wherever we are, whatever we are doing, if there is an institution, we need to handhold that. And I believe this hand-holding will go in a long way and the results will come, because this is again, as everybody mentioned, that this disruption can be an opportunity to develop a better, more healthy, more inclusive ecosystem in higher education.
Excellent. Someone wants to add? Dr. Anand, please.
Yeah. I feel that, having gone through this phase, in future, education in particular will definitely move towards creating entrepreneurship, having startup culture. Maybe that's what the country needs now. And maybe, as somebody has predicted earlier, that maybe in future placement will be a difficult thing. People cannot go abroad. They will not like to go abroad. So they got to stay back inside. And inside, the jobs are not there. We all know about it. And so maybe this will lead to giving importance to entrepreneurship. Maybe in future, all the universities will have a startup culture, and that will be one way good for the country, I would say.
Point.
We could take some questions from the audience. I think would be much better.
So, see, if we allow people to ask what we have experienced previously, that people ask very long questions. So instead of allowing them to ask online with the audio, I will suggest that each of the panelists chooses one of the questions which you are very interested in answering. So each of you, please choose one question each. And
I would like to, there are some of the questions, I've been seeing.
Yeah.
Which is a very normal question, but for the students, for the parents, it might be a little confusing. Like, there are no CBSE exams, there are no entrance examinations, which they have been asking, when you will be having your entrance examination also. So what I can tell to the audience, that this whole session will get delayed, so they should not worry. As the panelists said, we are taking admissions with the online interviews. We are registering provisional admissions we are giving. So it's for the audience that the usual session starts in July, August. This might get delayed by 1 or 2 or 3 months, depending upon the situation ahead. So what I believe, you know, students or parents should not fear. They should not panic. Everything till now is, you know, under control. In future also, in the session also, nobody will lose the session. Everyone, it might get delayed, but everything will happen.
I think very
Again,
important
yeah.
point you have.
One point I thought I would, yeah,
Sure.
is it okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple of questions were on anxiety part, the stress level of the students now and future. I think the answer is, in my opinion, is simple. Keep them engaged. See, the present day generation Z kids are restless, and yes, we need to really take care of them. They may not require us. They may think that they are above us, but we need to understand that they need us and our care and our concern. And so keep them occupied till they are there at home. And that's what we are doing now through our counselors and our teachers. And the same way, even in future, when they come back, again, it's going to be a different kind of a culture, the setup and lifestyle and so on in the campus. And so again, the point what I just want to drive home is that keep them all engaged. As Daniel Pink in his book says, the best way to keep the motivation level high among everybody, whether old or young, is to keep them engaged.
Let me quickly chip in at this point. Really speaking, the fear that our academic session would be extended or will be delayed, in my opinion, it may not happen. My own judgment is that the authorities, especially the ones who are conducting 10+2 examinations, would be able to really conduct these examinations well in time, and the sessions in the universities will start on schedule. That fear is not there. But the bigger fear at the moment is that how do I really now give that hope to the student community which will be joining our university, especially the freshers, that the kind of education which they are going to get in the universities today would earn them the handsome jobs and also give them a bright future in the industry and corporate. And I think a lot bigger counseling in that respect is required. At the same time, the universities, I'm sure, must be looking at what would be the education tomorrow, especially professional education, engineering education tomorrow, medical education tomorrow, management education tomorrow. How would it be different compared to what it is today? And preparation for this is to be made right now, today, so that we are able to meet and greet the challenges of tomorrow. The student community is looking into that kind of a response from the university. Now that we have understood that disruption has become a rule of the game, even for higher education. In Amity University, our preparedness is not just merely to meet the current challenges, but also to look at the future and creating that bright future today by our strategic interventions, by our innovative designs, by our strategic framework, and by putting together the framework of education that will be more responsive to the needs of the tomorrow's corporates and industries. I really see great changes taking place in that direction. Tomorrow's service sector would be much largely dependent on online services compared to what it was. And same would be the case for the workers of tomorrow, as I have already said. One of the fear which has been raised by the viewers, in fact, they are highly learned. They are saying, how are you going to build up the value system in the student community through online education? Because online education is generally seen as imparting knowledge and not the value, is not building up the attitude. But why not? Why not the online education for building the value system and for preparing the mindset, developing the psychological acumen of the student community, be all integrated into our education deliveries. And our curriculum has to now provide a space for such like interventions. In our Amity University, when we innovated our curriculum, we created in fact spaces by which we are able to impart the values alongside with attitudinal development of our student community, because these ultimately become very important when you go to the job market. People will look at you, not what you know, but how would you respond to the given challenges? How would you work in an interdisciplinary team? And how a person of integrity and professional morality you are. These are the issues, and I'm pretty sure universities of today in India are abreast with these challenges, and we have to prepare ourselves to respond. I'm I'm pretty sure the student community, especially the younger ones who are ready to go to university from the next session, must be watching our panel discussion with keen interest to understand how universities of India are prepared to respond to the changing needs of the corporate and industries tomorrow. My prayers are that this lockdown, which we are currently caught up with, we come out of this on 14th of April and put up a cheerful face once again. But then, don't lose the sight. We should integrate the advantages of online education, online training, online systems in our educational system to upgrade significantly the quality, relevance, and value and worth, so that the return of investment is much bigger for the student community compared to what it has been so far.
Thanks, sir. Abhishek, I think you want to pick any questions and give answers to.
Yeah, I mean, I see that there are a lot of questions from placements perspective, and they're asking us what will happen to the placement. First of all, I'm very encouraged by what Professor Dr. P.B. Sharma has said, and we hope that that's how it is going to be, and the economy will open up again. Assuming that the economy opens up pretty soon, and the government does whatever it has to do to open up the economy, I think we will do well, and the places are going to be there. If in the worst case scenario, if the economy doesn't pick up, then it leaves to the ingenuity of the students, like how the professor said, that you either become an entrepreneur, look at ways of earning by being an entrepreneur, or the university changes the placement in such a way that you look at newer opportunities, and opportunities are always going to be there. As human race, we will find new opportunities, and we will have to make sure that we adopt to the opportunity that comes our way.
So, if you all allow, we can close this session here. I wish to thank all the panelists and all the audience who has been very, very active. You have been a great audience. You have been asking a lot of very interesting questions, which have been, I think, incorporated in the speeches of the panelists. Panelists have spoken with their experience, and I think this is a great panel with a lot of great experience from all over the country. So we are honored to have you all, and I thank you all on behalf of Elets for being here. And just for information to all the audience, that this session has been shared on the Facebook page of Digital Learning, World Education Summit and Elets. So you can actually go on the Facebook and listen to it again if you have missed upon any of the points. And also, I would request each of the audience to please comment on those this video on Facebook, so that we get much more ideas for the questions for our next panel with other leading higher education institutions of this country, and so that we are able to create awareness about the current situation and talk about the possible solutions of handling. So I hope it has been a useful session for all of you, all the panelists and all the audience, and thank you again for being with us. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sharma ji. Thank you, Dr. Anand.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Let us remain energetic, enthusiastic, and
Yes.
empowered,
Yes.
so that our youth remains motivated and hopeful,
Yes.
and remain at home,
Yes.
stay at home, disciplined, so that this lockdown is not continued for a longer time. Let everybody
Yes.
follow what is told,
Yes.
but have big dreams which are waiting them.
Let
Thank you
the
very
divine
much.
powers continue to bless India and its people and save from the disaster of the kind which would have happened had the divine powers not helped India. Thank you so much, Dr. Ravi, and thank you all the viewers who have been logging in and thanking us on their messages, which we are all reading. Thank you so much indeed.
Thank you very much.
Small,
Thank you, sir.
small-
I conclude, I think with the point that the future is still bright.
Yes.
I conclude with my favorite sentence: every problem has a solution, and every solution has an opportunity. So please look at the opportunities and cheer up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Namaskar.
Thank you.
Namaskar. Namaskar. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.